that while we all stand here collaboratively working on our multifaceted fight against the vaping epidemic, these individuals nor their organizations are party to the lawsuit that were filed today against Juul. I would like to thank them all for their continued partnership with my office as we fight the dramatic, even epidemic, increase of use of e-cigarettes around the country, and certainly here in Illinois, which has been identified as one of the more densely impacted states. As Attorney General and as a father, I'm particularly concerned about the impact of this epidemic. If you visit any of the high schools or even middle schools in your neighborhood, they are now referring to the restroom as the vaping room. What can begin as kids sneaking into the school restroom to vape fruity or candy flavors, which is troubling on its own, that can lead to minors using other forms of tobacco and to addiction challenges that go beyond the use of tobacco. That's why today I'm announcing a lawsuit against the largest e-cigarette manufacturer in the country, Juul Labs. Using the Illinois Consumer Fraud Act, my office has filed a lawsuit against Juul for targeting its product to minors, misrepresenting the potency of the nicotine in its devices, and misrepresenting the ability of Juul devices to help people quit smoking. But let's be clear. The lawsuit is one part of what must be a multifaceted approach to addressing the epidemic levels of e-cigarette usage. My office is also focusing on policy changes and enforcement actions that will build on the work we're announcing today. Holding the industry accountable for its role in undoing the work that has been done to lower youth smoking rates must be part of a comprehensive solution. And today we are starting with Juul. My lawsuit alleges that Juul has engaged in, first, targeting its product to minors, employing a sleek physical design for its product. It's one I'm holding right here. Using a nicotine solution involving nicotine salts, which was more palatable for non-smokers. And I brought a brand new package in here, which demonstrates how even their instructions on how to get started imply that they are targeting non-smokers. And I'll read directly from it. First, take a small puff to get a feel for the vapor, then ease into inhaling. Like any new experience, Juul may take some getting used to. And in bold, if it feels too harsh, try inhaling less and puffing more gently. Don't give up. You'll find your perfect puff. Clearly, those aren't words of a company trying to get people to stop a bad habit. Those are words of trying to entice people, and particularly young people, into starting a bad habit. They offer a variety of flavors which are very popular with minors. They target minors with their advertising and marketing by including bright colors, young and hip models, and hosting cool events. Focusing extensively on social media advertising with hashtags such as Juul all night. Using ineffective online age verification. Secondly, the lawsuit alleges that Juul has misrepresented the potency of the nicotine and the safety of its products, advertising the amount of nicotine in a deceptive manner, inaccurately comparing the amount of nicotine in its products to traditional tobacco products, understating the addictiveness of its product, failing to disclose byproducts contained in the aerosol produced when consumers vape its products, understating or misstating the risks associated with its products, and advertising its products are safer than combustible cigarettes without obtaining any such approval from the FDA. And finally, the suit alleges that Juul misrepresented its product's ability as a smoking cessation device that can help consumers quit smoking. It markets its product as a smoking cessation device without having applied to the FDA or obtaining approval of the FDA as such. And it markets its product as being able to help consumers quit smoking without having substantiated such claims. In fact, it appears that far more new smokers are created by way of vaping than adult smokers quitting because of vaping. For every adult who quits smoking as a result of e-cigarettes, 81 kids and young adults move from e-cigarettes to regular cigarettes and tobacco products. I want to reemphasize that the lawsuit is one component of a whole. My office is continuing to conduct a broad investigation into the vaping industry, so Juul is not the universe. We are working both independently and with other states. We are investigating other e-cigarette manufacturers and retailers and continuing to identify other targets. We are also actively following the developments surrounding the recent outbreak of lung injuries and evaluating how the findings of the CDC, the Illinois Department of Public Health, and other agencies related to the causes can and should inform our investigative and prosecutorial efforts. We are engaged in legislative efforts as well, particularly advocating for a comprehensive approach and instituting effective measures that try to stem the tide of underage use of these products. Last week, my office met with the FDA and committed to working collaboratively as it investigates vaping in the state of Illinois. We'll take questions.
Multiple other states have filed similar lawsuits. What took Illinois so long?
Well, I know of 3 other states, and there's 50 states and additional territories. What we do is we don't rush to file a lawsuit. We conduct an investigation, and once we amass the adequate information, we file a lawsuit. We're not in a race. We're focused on trying to tackle the unique problems and effects of this in the state of Illinois. That these same problems may exist and do exist in other states and have led other states to file a couple of them a couple of weeks ago. I just left my colleagues from the 50 states and the territories just yesterday after a couple of day conference, and again, there are far more of my colleagues who haven't filed yet and who are following Illinois than the other way around.
What goes into an investigation for people who don't know?
Well, gathering information with regards to the harms caused, linking it to the actual product, gathering information from the subject being investigated, in this case, Juul, and assessing that and then making a decision whether our law, in this case, our Consumer Fraud Act, has been violated.
How are you working with those other attorneys general?
Attorneys General, yeah, I've struggled with it as well.
On those issues, and what is the ultimate goal with this legislation?
So, how we work together. So over the course of the last year, I've only been Attorney General since January, but I've convened with my colleagues on multiple occasions and at meetings, and one of the consistent topics at those meetings where we have experts. Just yesterday, we had a panel that included a representative from the from CDC. It included my colleague, AG Josh Stein, who was the first state in North Carolina to file a lawsuit, and an expert from the University of Waterloo in Canada, because this is an international issue, and we exchange information and practices and what we've experienced in our respective states. In the presentation that I observed yesterday, Illinois was highlighted as one of the states that is most impacted by the lung-related illnesses that evolve from vaping. Quite frankly, I didn't even know that fact until it was presented to me yesterday. So being able to have those exchanges, and as we're doing with regards to opioid litigation right now, it may be, while this is an independent Illinois lawsuit, there may be collaboration between the states at holding not just Juul, but the industry at large accountable for the harm that they've caused. And what do we seek to get from it? Is a disgorgement of the profits that have been gained by getting a generation of kids hooked and having developed an addiction problem generally. We'll have to address that problem. And even if it was alluded to that some companies are purporting to make efforts to self-correct, the cat's already out of the bag. Minors and young adults are already hooked, and they're passing it on to the next generation. If tomorrow all of the flavors are just eliminated from each and every manufacturer, the problem still exists, and we'll need investment in trying to make sure that we abate the problem. And so that is what I seek.
General, you were saying earlier, sir, that you were starting with Juul. Can you expand on that? Does this mean that a ban could be next, anything like that?
Well, no, there are other manufacturers. There are manufacturers of the vaping devices, as well as those who manufacture the additives that are can be utilized with a Juul or other vaping product. Juul just happens to be sort of the monster in the market. They've moved from, I think, less than or around 30% of the market share a couple of years ago to having about 75% of the market share, and that's not by accident. That's by design of targeting minors and making sure that they've created a product that was more palatable by using these nicotine salts and making it go down smoother, as they would say. That's not a design for smokers. That's a design for people who haven't experienced the harshness of smoking. That's targeted towards kids, and that's where the growth, a large part of the growth, has occurred amongst minors and young adults.
Well, I have a quick question for Dr. Ezekiel. You, in terms of the numbers, if you could step up to the microphone, you said 201 confirmed since when? And also, do you know how many of those are children?
Great, thank you. So there have been 201 cases in Illinois. That we update our numbers every Thursday, so that's as of today, 201 cases, and then there are additional cases.
This year, or?
Yes, since this started in July, since we started investigating this in July. And this goes with the 2,200 across the country in all 50 states. And you asked about the kids. So the range of ages for our cases here in Illinois is 13 to 85, but the median age is just 22. So a large proportion are youth.
200 cases of illness or?
Of illness, yeah. Of the cases, 201 cases, and we are only capturing the hospitalized cases.
Thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel. And while you're at it, please leave us a comment. Thank you for watching.